You didn't recognize me. Oh dear.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I only got 6 screens up, so I should have everybody. Good.
Will we have a quorum or the needed amount of people for item number 2?
Yeah, first off, Alicia, I'd like to appoint Rick Chow to be a voting member.
Okay.
Yeah, because Joy is not participating today, so we have 5. And then when Sharon has to recuse herself, and if Tony is here, then Tony I'll appoint. So we have 5 for each item. Thank you.
I see Tony here.
Tony's already here. Thank you. Thank you, Krista, for covering me. Good. So ball game finished earlier. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. By the way, Alicia, I would do the flag salute before the roll call, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I believe that's how it is in the agenda.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
And you can start at any time. It's currently recording.
Okay, let's begin.
Do you want to call to order?
All right, great.
Oh,
So now it's 7:03, so we'll begin the meeting. I want to welcome everybody to the San Marino Design Review Committee meeting. Citizens interested in providing the Design Review Committee with valuable information regarding issues of the community is very much welcomed. Now I'd like to call the meeting to order. And next, I'd like to have first the flag salute. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it
one
stands,
nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Justice for all.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to ask staff to take a roll call.
Malia, you were going to do that one, right?
Yeah, am I muted? No, I'm not, right? Okay, cool. Sorry. Let's see, roll call. Design Review Committee, Chair Wong,
Present.
Vice Chair Lakin,
present.
Committee Member Chang,
Present.
Committee Member Batanese. Oh, I'm sorry, she's absent. Committee Member McKay,
Present.
alternate Committee Member Chow.
We're
Present.
both Chows.
Sorry, Rich Chow, and then alternate Committee Member Tony Chow.
Yeah, present.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with the exception of committee member Joyce Bennett, every committee member is here tonight. So the agenda is posted 72 hours prior to the meeting at the following locations: San Marino City Hall, San Marino Public Library, San Marino Recreation Department, San Marino website. With regard to the design review hearing procedures, each committee member has received plans and has reviewed each item on the agenda and visited each site. The general order for hearing each case will be as follows. The committee will ask staff any questions they may have. The chair will then ask the applicant or the applicant's representative to comment on the proposal. The hearing will then be open to the public, and the chair will ask for comments for, against, or about the project. Staff will have a brief explanation on the public comment process for this meeting. In all cases, please come forward and give your name and address. At the conclusion of the public comments, the applicant will have a chance to respond, and no further comments from the public will be accepted. The chair will then ask the comments from each of the committee members. If there is no motion for approval or denial, the DRC has the option of continuing the application to a future meeting. In the event of a denial, it is hoped that the applicant will have heard comments during the public comment period and during deliberations that will be useful in resubmitting an application. It is important for the property owner to understand that once a project is approved by the DRC, the drawings become legal documents. If any changes are made to the project subsequent to approval without obtaining proper approval of these changes, then the property owner is in fact breaking the law. There is risk of having to change the project back to the originally approved design or paying a fine to the city of San Marino equal to the greater of 5% of the project valuation or $2,500, and then resubmitting the changes made to the project to the DRC. It is also important to understand that there is a 15-day appeal period after action has been taken for the applicant or any interested party to request the Planning Commission to review and act on the case. After all of the agenda items have been heard, 2 design committee members will conduct the open forum. At this time, residents or representatives may ask committee members about current or future projects related to the project. Committee members can discuss the design with you, but cannot comment on how this may vote on the project. I now would like to turn to staff for an explanation on how we will take public comments during the meeting. Staff, please.
Yes, so for public comments, we will also accept comments via email sent to planning@cityofsanmarino.org. The email address is also found on the agenda. These will then be read into the record, and we must receive these emails before the public comment period for that particular item ends. The comments may be summarized if necessary to limit under 3 minutes. We will then ask for comments from our Zoom participants. When we ask for your public comments via Zoom, there are 2 ways you can let us know you would like to speak. First, you can use the raise hand feature, which is a button that is found by clicking on the participants and then clicking on raise hand at the bottom right side of the screen. Please do not use this feature until we have asked for public comment, or else we may not see it or know which item you're asking to speak on. As a second option, you can send a message using the chat box saying you would like to speak on this particular agenda item. Comments will be accepted only at the end of the public comment period for that item.
Thank you, staff. Let us start with item number 1 tonight, design review case number DR 21-62 at 1045 Roanoke Road, San Marino. Staff report, please.
Yes, so the applicant is proposing to extend approximately a 6-foot tall concrete CMU wall with stucco finish facing the alley at the rear of the property line on approximately 18,284 square foot lot, improved with a single family home in the R1 zone in Area District 5. The proposed CMU wall with the stucco finish measures approximately 34.5 feet across and 6 feet tall at its highest point.
Thank you. Next, any question from the committee to staff, please?
I do have a couple of questions.
Okay, alternate member Rick Chow, please.
Thank you, Chair. Looking for clarification. First one is reasonably minor, but I don't know if it needs to be noted accordingly. If we go to attachment number 1, I see it in maybe 1 or 2 places. Attachment number 1 on the top, below the address site map, says proposed addition to south property to match existing wall. And this is really the north side of the property. So do we need to word this a little bit differently to make sure nobody gets confused?
Yes, you're correct. This is the the north side of the property, and I believe it was mixed up, meaning the rear of the property line instead of the
Right,
south.
yeah, but we can't just always note south on any rear side of the property. So that is on one page. I see also on the, scroll down 2 more pages, the schematic of existing south property. Same thing here. So I would just kind of call it out, ask staff to make a note to reflect to kind of, also on the next page too. So anyway, that's the first thing. Then my second question is that did the applicant present any tree protection plans? I don't believe it's here, but I also just want to clarify.
Right, so this project has 2 existing eucalyptus trees abutting the corner of the rear property. They are not, it was inquired earlier if they were city trees, but they're not, they are private. And the wall will be continuing rear behind it. The tree protect.
Hello, I'm losing the audio from Camilla.
I lost the audio too.
She's actually appearing frozen on screen.
I think that it's frozen.
It looks like
Right.
it.
So let me see
might
if I
need to
can answer
log
the
in.
question. Yeah, she might need to log in and log back out. The question was, is there a tree protection zone? I don't believe one has been proposed. I think it's a good question for the applicant, as I don't believe an arborist report was submitted for this.
Okay, those are my 2 questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ray. And committee member Ray Chan, you have a question?
Yes, I do have a simple one. If staff do not have the answer, we may have to ask the applicant. The plan obviously is such a small
Ray,
scale.
you don't have voice.
Oh, really?
Now it's okay. There was
It's okay
an
now?
intermission in between. Yep, now it's good.
Sorry about that. The question is that because of the scale of the drawing is so small, and I don't know whether the new wall behind that chain link fence is going to be able to fit between the large trees that are there and the fence. So I don't know whether the applicant or the landscape person proposing this have done that carefully and then check that out. Somehow when I look at it, it looks like it's not going to be able to fit based on what they show in the drawing on that landscape proposal page, which I believe is page 3 of the, or page 4 of the application. So I don't know if staff have a chance to, I know a survey plan was attached, but I don't know how detailed that shows. And there's no detail on the actual wall. So I don't know how the footing, how big the footings are, and whether they're going to be able to trench the footing and build that wall per the schematic design. That's, I guess, my biggest concern. So I don't know if staff look into that, or we can talk to the applicant later.
Applicant's on right now, if you want to
Thank
talk.
you. Yep, you have a chance. All right, just
Sure.
hold. Any other questions from the committee, please, to staff? Seeing none, I have one more for staff, is that the package does not seems to show how the proposed wall is going to connect with the existing wall in the west side abutting the parking lot, whereby it is a 2-level wall. One is a lower, one is about 6 foot, I believe. So is the applicant to fill it up to make it all even, or what? If staff has any question, please share. Alicia or
Camelia, so I see Camelia is on now, right, as the
Okay.
cedar. Are you able to talk to that?
Hi, can you hear me?
yes.
Hi. Yeah, sorry. Got internet disconnected. So yes, correct. The plans do not show how, so the wall abutting the parking lot is 2-tiered. It goes from 6 feet to slightly below. It will connect at the corner, but it's not indicated if it's going to be connected to another 6 feet or if it's going to be connected to the existing, let's say 4 feet tall wall. It's just going to connect in general.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll,
I have one
Committee-
question then.
yes, please, Vice Chair Lee Kon.
Thank you. Does that existing wall to the west, the side wall, I guess, for the parking lot, is that the church parking lot wall, or does that wall belong to the applicant?
I would have to refer back to the survey, but definitely a question that the applicant can answer.
And if the wall belongs to the parking lot, can the applicant build and connect to that wall, or does that have to come with an approval from the owner of the wall?
If the wall is a shared wall, or if the wall is on the side of the property lot, it would have to be approved by them, or it would have to be offset by 2 feet. I had it pulled up on my other computer. Let me pull up the survey. 1 second.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now.
You want to share screen?
Let me share this thing. Okay. So the survey that was provided was made with the purpose of this new wall to the rear on the north side of the property. So you can see here in the dashed line that it's indicated the property line, but it's not clear if the existing wall falls within the surveyed boundary or shared.
Chair, if I may ask, why she had it on the screen now, if I may ask a question to staff.
Please go ahead.
This is supposed to be performed by a surveyor. Cowland Engineering did it, but I am very surprised to see a survey map showing something so incomplete. It doesn't show it shows the property line wall, but it does not show the dimension between the property line wall to the proposed wall. So we have no idea how that work comes together. And then it does not show the adjacent properties two-step wall. I don't know whether that wall falls into the proposed lot 46 R1 zone, or it falls onto the commercial side. And the connection that you asked earlier between the proposed wall and the existing wall, that area is basically open at this time. And also the 2 major mature trees were not shown on this survey map, which make it almost impossible to know where the wall goes. And then the existing chain link fence wall does not show on the drawing. So it is so schematic that it will leave a lot of questions when they come time to construction, if we approve that, and that could create some pretty big problem later. And that is my observation from this survey map. So I don't know whether staff have any additional information that can answer those questions for me.
The only information I can add to that is I know that this map is quite small, but on the top left, you have these 2 lines and the text is hard to read, but it does indicate the 2 trees locations right there.
It does or it does not?
It does. It says trees. You have to zoom in very closely.
Are we able to zoom in? Are we able to get it max?
I'm actually looking at the picture. I went there myself and I took a picture, and that tree is almost smack against that wall, the second one, the easterly one, smack against the chain link fence. And there is no way that you can put that 6-inch wall with the footing in between the tree foundation and the fence, unless they relocate the chain link fence get relocated further south. So maybe we can ask the applicant later, but this drawing is by no means showing what anybody can build based on this drawing. With no dimension, with 2 lines, and with four lines with indication, and this is no way to close to being a survey plan.
Staff, if I may just follow through, in this expanded version, is the dotted line the proposed wall? Because you look at the right side, it is existing block wall, which is in dotted line. And the solid line is also say fence, so it is quite confusing. Which line is which line? We have a solid line, we have a dotted line.
Yeah, I muted, no, I'm not. So yes, this, if you can see my mouse, this semi-solid line is the new wall. I believe the plans have changed over time between the proposal, but for this survey has stayed consistent, although the design of the wall has changed. The location in this solid line is the wall, and then in these 2 lines right here is the tree locations.
I get that. So you're saying the dotted line or the semi-solid horizontal line is the proposed block wall? And
Yes,
the solid line above it is the existing fence?
existing fence and gate, yes.
I think that's actually in reverse. The one that's north of the, the line that's to the north, that's a solid line, is where a string line was put down for where the wall is being proposed. Whereas the line that shows a dash and a dot is actually the existing 12-foot high fence.
Okay. All right. I guess
I have-
we may better off check with the applicant because it seems confusing to me.
Right.
Anyway, any
I have
other
one
questions
question.
for staff? Yes, please go ahead.
So we're missing the dimensions on the survey map, correct? Between the alley and the fences, there's no dimensions somewhere for us to see. Am I reading that accurately? This is what's been confusing.
You're correct on that. You're absolutely
Okay,
correct.
okay, let's just, so we need to have dimensions.
Yeah, there's
To
no
make
way
this
anybody can,
useful.
you look at, nobody can build this fence with this drawing. I
Right.
couldn't, so you would have to.
Okay, let's continue
Okay.
focusing on questions to staff on the package. Any other questions from the committee to staff? Seeing none, I would then move on to invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to present the project. Please. Please say your name and address.
Good evening, distinguished DRC members and others in the field. I'm Dr. Phil Piccinini, 1045 Roanoke. I am the applicant and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, I'll give it a try then, Chair, if it's okay.
Please go ahead.
The plan that was shown to us, unfortunately, is very schematic, and it's very difficult to be able to lay it out based on your wish. I guess you're the property owner, am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so back to the area. Whoever prepared a plan for you, have they measured the distance between the tree and the chain link fence?
It's 36 inches on the west tree. It's 24 inches on the east tree.
You got 24 inches behind it?
Yep.
And what kind of footing that you will be doing in that area?
I sent the footing information in there, but I believe it's a 20-inch footing. It's standard. It's a standard footing for that type of wall. So it should fit.
And you're not planning on removing any of your existing 12-foot chain link fence will remain? Where is
That's
that?
going to remain there. That's correct. That's been there for many years and that's going to stay there.
You physically measured it, or you're the thing your surveyor?
I physically measured it. Yes.
Huh?
Yes, I measured it. That's correct.
And how far is your fence, your new proposed block wall to the chain link fence? How close are they?
It's gonna abut the chain link fence,
A bus meaning right smack against it.
right next to it. Yep, that's correct.
And you will have enough space between that and your tree, you think?
Yes, sir. We're very, very, very cognizant about making sure the tree stays safe.
There will be a proposed, a potential problem when you start trenching that foundation for your wall. That's exactly what the root system is for the tree. Unless they are cautious about maybe breaching that area, you will have to cut through all the root system for the tree.
Be very careful. I'm not about ready to kill the tree for sure. Totally understand.
Oh, okay. And how is that wall butting to your existing westerly wall and your existing easterly wall? How are the two walls?
So it's gonna be contiguous with the easterly wall, it'll just be extended. And then in terms of the westerly wall, it was gonna go up against the wall at the 6-foot peak. So it'd be just continuous. So it'd go right up against it. And to answer your question about who owns the wall, I don't know exactly who owns the wall, but it's my understanding that the property line goes up to the wall. But I'm not sure if it includes the wall or not. But it goes right up to it. So it sounds to me like it's a shared wall with the church.
Was this survey being done for this purpose, for your project?
Yeah,
Did you
this survey, the property, I was asked to perform a property line survey to
Right.
make sure that the wall was greater than 2 inches from the street, from the city property. Mr. Cervantes specifically asked for that. And so that's where this was specifically done for that reason, to show that the wall was greater than 2 inches away from the property line, which I guess is code in San Marino. And so that clearly shows that.
Well, maybe staff can qualify that. I don't know of the 2 inches. Usually it's the 18 inches what they want for the landscape area. But if you,
Well, it's greater than 5 feet on the west side and 3 feet on the east side. And then if you actually look at my existing wall, it's only 6 inches from the property line anyway. So it's even further back. It's gonna be a little bit further back. If you can see that line is in a diagonal. So it's the wall's gonna go down the diagonal line right in front of the chain link fence.
well, here's what I guess my biggest concern is that when you connect that 2 points, 1 point is from your existing easterly wall.
Yep.
Are you extending in the same plane with the wall, or you making that as point A and then connecting to the 2-tier westerly wall as point B?
Yes, so point A on the east is gonna have it'll have like a 1 brick jog. I don't know if you can see, it'll come in and then make a little jog. So there'll be, in order to connect it, it's not gonna be completely, I can't take that wall completely across because that portion of my property is at a diagonal, right? But I want to make it look so I can actually keep a flower bed in front of that. I mean, I could take that wall all the way across and put the trees behind the wall, but I want to make a nice flower bed there. So it looks nice for all the folks that drive by and put some shrubbery and some greenery in there. So it actually looks nice and cleans it up a lot because it's definitely an eyesore right now. And it has been an eyesore for a long time. So.
No, I understand. I mean, it can definitely use some improvement, but I just want to make sure that the improvement will come out correctly and come out right. So basically, it's not going to be a straight wall. It's going to be in an angle where the connection point A is.
Yes.
And then point B will be where the second connection.
Yes, sir.
And you have two trees in between that you need to kind of get that straight line and then get the tree so that the trees are away from your 6
right.
inches near wall. And I,
Right.
and somebody has already checked all this for you, or you check it yourself?
In term, check, be more specific about what you're asking.
I'm asking you as to whether they have done the layout, the preliminary layout, using as point A to point B, run the straight line there and see
Yeah.
how they intercept with the trees.
Yeah, that, I did that myself.
You did
That's
it
correct.
yourself.
That's correct.
Are you planning on building the wall yourself or is somebody else?
I have somebody who's licensed to build a wall.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, I have somebody who's gonna build a wall. I'm not gonna do the construction myself.
And that, and they're gonna do further plan, or this is the plan that you're gonna use?
It's the plan we're gonna use.
Okay, then, fine. Has that somebody building the wall for you look at this plan?
Of course.
And they know how to do it?
Yes, sir. 100%. So I'm very confident in their ability to put the wall up.
Well, I guess my biggest question is the foundation size. There's a plan that shows the connection between the 2 point A and point B and the correct placement of the trees so that the committee would understand where the tree, how far is it from the proposed wall and how far is it between the wall and the fence and how much property line setback from the wall to the property line. And none of those information are on these plans. So it will be difficult for that person to build it for you without those information.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant?
Yes, can I follow up with a few?
Please, Rick Chow.
Thank you. I have maybe about 3-4 questions to the applicant and some that have been discussed a little bit. So I think I feel confident that I understand applicant's plan. I must say that I also struggled with the information or lacking of information, but I see the plan and I think I understand it. Visit the site and that wall extension is going to be at an angle and all that. So my question, first question is basically a clarification, if the applicant could confirm, is that you don't really know where the property line is, right? On Wesley property line.
It goes all the way up to the wall.
No, I mean, what I meant is, I rephrased my question. I meant the wall. Do you know if the wall is right on your property or someone else's property?
I don't know exactly what portion of the wall sits on my property versus the neighbor.
Okay. Okay.
No,
I just
honestly,
wanna-
I don't. I just know my property goes up to the wall. I don't know if the portion of the wall is mine or not. I honestly don't know.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
sorry, I wish I could tell you that.
Okay, that's, I just want to ask you to confirm my understanding. The second question is the lower tier of the existing wall, westerly wall, is going to remain, if I understand your plan correctly, you're just going to take the north wall, the new wall, up to the 6 feet high, 6 foot high portion. It's just going to create kind of a 90-degree turn there. But the lower tier, yeah, okay, you're not planning to do that. Okay, so that was my second one. The third one is that, help me to understand your process a little bit. I think you seem very confident, but if you could just explain that about the trees, because normally, as you know, when you build and you dig, you build a 6 foot tall wall there, a brick wall. It's gonna affect the roots there. So why didn't you think about bringing in a professional arborist to kind of help you along, also to present a report?
I appreciate that. And I can tell you that this project, the cost of this project has ballooned significantly to the point where the reports that you guys have asked me for have far outstripped the cost of the wall. The property line alone survey is the cost of the wall. And I did get an estimate for an arborist to come out, and it's cost prohibitive. Listen, I'm just trying to build a privacy wall to keep people from seeing into my family's house
Right.
and watching, and what should be a pretty straightforward, if this wall was on the side, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. The only reason why we're at the design review is because I have an alleyway behind my house. And so I'm not trying, I totally understand where you're coming from. And again, I've been a resident of San Marino for over 14 years. And so I completely know and appreciate and will do everything I can to protect the trees. Now, if we have to cut roots, there's ways of doing that. And it's straight cuts with sharp, instruments. It's not chopping. It's not, bludgeoning the root system. There's ways to protect the roots. Those are things that I'm willing to oversee and make sure that those trees are protected. Now, having said that, I can't guarantee, nor I don't think an arborist could guarantee if a tree would survive. Hopefully it would. But there are laws on the books too, that if my construction kills a tree, then you guys have the right to come back to me and find me to do that. So, I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying, and I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I'm just saying that there are protections already in place that like I said, this has already become extremely, I'm already like knee deep into this thing. And it's just becoming a significant burden. But anyways, I'm happy to entertain further questions and try to get you guys.
Thanks for your information. I think that's helpful, at least for me to understand where you're coming from.
Sure.
You have a beautiful home. That's very obvious, front and back in the yard. I have no doubt that you're trying to do the best thing, but from our point of view, there's certain questions that we need to certainly seek your help for clarification.
Sure.
Those are my questions. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, thank you.
I have a question.
Vice Chair Lee, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, thank you. The chain link fence that's existing on both sides, right? It's facing the west side and the north. It's along the north and along the west, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And it's like for a basketball court, or
I believe it's remnants of a prior tennis court.
tennis court. Okay.
Yeah, I think they had a tennis court there years ago, and the two property owners ago took out the tennis court and left those two fences up. But now it actually is a basketball court.
So that's nice because it keeps the balls from going over
it's
to the parking
fantastic.
lot. So have you considered just growing some kind of a hedge or something thick for privacy along the back and then not have to worry about the wall? Or what is the difference between the wall, just asking, what was the need for the wall versus the fence?
I think that for aesthetics, for one, I think that it makes the back, when you're driving down the alley, if you actually look at all the houses, every house has a wall that comes across, right? I just have this sort of corner eyesore that, yeah. So the answer to your question is yes. That certainly is a reasonable thing to do. Having said that, we're in the midst of a mega drought now. And so, adding greenery, probably doesn't do that anymore, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to do small ones anyway. But yeah, that's the alternative here, right? Is to put a big hedge there. But I wanted to, but even with hedges, you can still see through that. And I have two little dogs that can see everything now. And so every single person, you probably have gotten complaints. Every single person that walks down my alley meets Leo and Willow. And so, that would create some separation from them as well, and some less noise. But yeah, the answer to your question is sure. Absolutely.
Because I think that we can't have a chain link fence that's exposed to the front or to the side. So I'm assuming that we're not allowed to have that's against code to have chain link showing. I'm not sure. So I was thinking that you would probably want some kind of coverage on the chain link anyway.
Well, the chain, yeah.
Well, for aesthetics.
I'm not
I
sure.
know there's that.
Yeah, I'm
there's that
not
concern.
sure.
Okay, so my next question is, when you look from the alley and you look into the let's call it a basketball court, a court on the west side along that wall. So in between the chain link and the wall.
Yes.
You look down on the ground, there is some kind of a little, like a gully, or there's something. Do you know what the purpose of that is? Is it is it for water? There's some kind of a tarp, something in there. There's
No, actually,
netting. Is there?
It's just
is it
dirt.
something that you're-
It's footing. And then what I did was there's some garden paper. I put garden paper down. And I put rocks along the chain link fence so where the basketball court is.
Mhm.
There's rocks, and that's just on the other side. It's just showing. I didn't put rock down that side, but yeah, that's basically just a dirt way. Actually, prior to me cleaning it up, it was 5 feet worth of old growth. And
Okay. So my other question is, if you were to put your wall along the north side,
yeah,
and it abutted to that side wall that we don't know whose it is yet, but how would you access anything between any grass or debris or anything that gets between the wall and the chain link? I mean, it's such a small area, and you wouldn't be able to get back there.
no, actually, no, I could actually, this is me personally, but I can get over the fence, no problem. And there's actually a small piece of chain link that connects my 12-foot chain link fence to that wall. So I would probably end up taking that out to allow myself access to that piece. So right now I don't do that for safety reasons,
Mhm.
but I've actually thought about taking down that piece. It's maybe a 12-inch chain link that's separating that chain link fence from the wall.
So you would have access to clean out the area between the chain link and the wall on both sides,
That's
the
correct.
north and the west. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, I want to thank the applicant, Dr. Piccinini, for sharing your comments, and I'd like to now see if there is any public comments. Staff, is there anybody raising hand through the internet?
I do not see any.
Thank you. Now I'll close the public hearing session and begin committee member discussion. Committee member Rick Chow.
Thank you, Chair. My initial reaction is I think this is a good project. I can see the need for it, and also I think it'll improve the look. Where I can't really support this project is just, for me, the most important factor would be the lack of tree protection. And I definitely understand the cost issue, and I don't know if there is a way to get around that. The survey, I think is needed. However, given the nature of this project, I can pretty much see what the applicant has in mind. If the wall has been there before the applicant moved in 14 years ago, the westerly side wall is probably not going to create any future dispute. I don't know that, but a survey would be very helpful. I think it should be done. But again, just reflecting to the cost. But where I really kind of doubt about this project, unfortunately, is just the health of the trees. So my comment is also maybe a question for the for the applicant to think about is, I mean, the setup in your backyard, in the applicant's backyard, it's a nice, very nice basketball court, looks like a tennis court. I mean, you look in, because currently you can see through. For privacy, why don't, maybe there's an option to make it just like those kind of covered tennis court fence, like with instead of see-through, you have this opaque material, which you see at many very high-end tennis courts. Of course, you windproof it by certain solutions. But that's just an observation. It's not really a recommendation. So I think those are my the tree plan lack of the tree the protection plan is really a concern for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Alternate member Tony Chow.
Yeah, I see the need, and I actually think this is a pretty good solution. My only issue is really just what we be approving on that joint, that kind of corner. There's no. I read through the description of the project, and with that and the attachments, I'm just not sure that there's clarity. So that's really my only hesitation on this one.
Thank you. Committee member Raymond Chan.
Sorry about that. I guess I was my concern earlier. If the property owner said that the survey already cost him as much as the wall, I really have a big problem with this surveyor. For somebody as a professional to give him what he's got showing us on the survey map, we're not showing the westerly wall and where that property line falls and how that wall relationship to the property line, and come up with a without any dimension between the property line and the fence and the 12-foot fence. I have a big problem with that because it doesn't show, and then without showing the tree, the exact location of the tree and the size of the tree, and how that new wall goes. The surveyor has not done him a good job. I think first of all, the project has merit, and I have no problem supporting the concept. But this thing, unless the owner have all these things worked out with the constructing people and have all those answered, all this question answered, this could turn into a much worse situation than we can expect at the end of the day. So my read is that I can support the project only provided that the surveyor go back and do the homework and do it right. And then so we understand. Another question I have is that it's easy to make a note that, well, all finish of the wall to match existing. First of all, I don't know the exact block. Are those 6x6 by 18 blocks they plan on using? Are they going to stucco the front and the back side? If they stucco the back side physically, depends on how much distance between the chain link fence and the block wall, they may not physically be able to stucco that back wall anyway. So none of these things has been thought out and or considered on the plan. So we are basically looking at a concept without any of the hard construction details to understand how it's going to be built. And we have no way of knowing at the end of the day how far is between the chain link fence to the finished face of the wall. Can a person each can go in there and clean up or do the stucco work? Not until we got that worked out, I would have a problem approving it the way it is. So that would be my read for now.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lee Kon.
Hi, thank you. I could support it as far as the aesthetics. I think it's compatible with the alleyway and with the home itself. So design-wise, I have no problem with it. But again, like my other committee members have expressed, the lack of dimensions on the survey put us in a precarious situation that if we were to approve something, we can't guarantee that it's going to work out. And I also would like the determination of that wall on the west to know if it is the church parking lot or if it sits on the property line. And I have seen in the permit files for other properties in general that there have been agreements set between neighbors where they both have agreed that the wall sits on the property on both properties, or it sits on that property line. So I just think to clear up that corner so that it doesn't come up later to be an issue. And the tree protection plan. I think those eucalyptus trees look a little, they look a little, maybe there's not very many leaves on them. They look kind of sad, like maybe Edison did some work on them to bring them down. I'm not sure. They don't look great, but I really think that trees are really necessary there. So I think that they're gonna have a hard time with that kind of construction of that wall. So I would prefer to see some kind of a tree protection plan. But besides those, the design wise, I think it's nice. And I understand why the applicant is looking for that kind of barrier. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe we as a committee has consensus that the project has a lot of merits. It's a wonderful, beautiful property, especially from the front. And I salute the property owner for even beautifying it from the back, and all these corners and connections and whatnot, details have been thought out. And the fact that there's a 10 approval all around from the neighborhood meant that the owner also communicate with the immediate neighborhood and make sure everybody likes the concept. And I personally also like how a rendering was done in about the flower beds and whatnot to be put in front of the proposed block wall. So all these are very, very good. But I have also seen other projects that footing would have to be dug really close to mature trees. And Albert's report really talks about not only straight cut and wad cut on the roots, but manual dig and how far between the edge of the trunk and the footing would be adequate and so forth. So there are a lot of professional arborist guidance in the process, way more than what we think we know. So for the sake of this wonderful property and its immediate environment, as well as for clarifying property line ownership and whether it's a share wall or not in the west, to avoid any confusion in the future or any legal issues in the future, I think it is to the benefit of the property owner to sort clarification in all these details. And as simple as, what if everything is proposed and built, and how would you water the flower bed outside? Because as you said, there's going to be drought. You cannot rely on rain, right? So how do you bring water beyond your block wall to irrigate and so forth? So conceptual wise, I totally can support it, but in terms of execution, I'm afraid there a fair amount of areas to be buttoned up. So I can support a continuance for the project tonight. May I ask if there is any motion? Anybody want to bring a motion, please?
I think you forgot to call on me, Chair.
Oh, sorry. And please, Committee Member McKay, go ahead.
So anyway, I won't belabor what my fellow committee members have all said, but I didn't have a chance to speak. I see the need for the project, and you have a very beautiful property, and the need for privacy is paramount with a family, and especially since you have the property on the alley. So I won't belabor what my fellow committee members have said, but it would I think be appropriate for a continuance, just so that these measurements that are so crucial could be set forth. The plans simply don't reflect the details that the property owner has kindly provided to us tonight, and the explanations, those aren't set forth, and it also provides an opportunity to fix some of those erroneous designations that my fellow committee member noted. on the plans in terms of which view we were looking at. So I think it would be appropriate for continuance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Committee Member McKay. We appreciate it. Is there any motion? Anybody want to
Let me give it a try then. I move to continue design review case number DR 21-62 to the next available meeting. I don't know how much time the applicant need to talk to the surveyor or whoever to prepare the plan for them to be ready. For staff, is maybe a quick question for the applicant. Is this something you can work with the applicant, the designer quickly and can come back on our next scheduled meeting, or how much time do you need if you were to work those out?
When's the next scheduled meeting, I guess is the first question.
Staff, please share that with the applicant and also share with them when do they need to bring the information back to you for your staff report.
Next
Sure.
scheduled, sorry, go ahead, Camelia, go for it.
Yeah, sure. So the next scheduled meeting is April 6th, and we would need to have all the required documentation by Monday, March 28th.
I can work with Ms.
Alex.
Martinez to see if we can get that. Maybe give me a day or so.
Sure, we can continue, we can make the motion to continue it to a date uncertain, and then you can work with staff to work on that calendar. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, so
Okay.
my motion will be to continue this case number DR 21-62 to a date uncertain, and so that we can allow the applicant to work with staff and also the design.
If I may interject, staff, are we changing the numbering to DR or DRC? Because item number 4 is DRC, so I just want to set the record straight tonight.
We are transitioning to move everything to DR only because some projects, although the applicants may need to file a design review committee application, some projects are so minor that the code allows staff to make approvals, and therefore it doesn't necessarily need to go before an actual meeting. It's just a design review instead of a design review committee meeting. So all our projects in the future should be labeled DR instead of DRC.
Okay, got it. So perfect for the clarification. Anybody second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
If I can just get one clarification before roll call.
Yeah.
There was a request for an arborist report. Is that a recommendation or is that something you would like to see for the next submittal?
I believe we need to see, because we need to see how to protect the trees. Otherwise, it will be difficult.
Okay, great. So, and then the rest of the questions for clarification for our staff, the applicant, and for the record. All the items made on this motion for corrections are to have a surveyor plan done to include the existing west wall, whether it be on the property line or within the property, the subject properties area, to provide in the new surveyor plans to provide the distance of the proposed wall to the rear property line, to indicate on the site plan and elevation how the proposed wall will connect to the existing west wall, and to fix on the site plan the south side typo to change it to the north, to include a tree protection plan and an arborist report, and then lastly, to provide information on how the irrigation is going to be provided. Is this correct when we move forward with this motion?
Yes, I remember, yes.
With
Anything else?
exception of two, I'm sorry,
Go
there's
ahead.
two items. Also the connection to the east wall also. You mentioned the west wall. The west wall is critical because of the property line question. I'll make it quick. If that existing two-step wall is, let's say, a foot away from the property line, and your wall continue to go in, you may be building on somebody else's property, which could be a big headache for the property owner later. They may be able to ask you to cut it off later because you have no right to build on their property. If this step wall is within his property, then it's a lot easier because it also requires the structural people to look at it Are they gonna tie the new wall to the existing wall on his property? And so that's a critical decision there. As to the east wall, there's also a connection detail, whether they're gonna make a jog, they're gonna make a 90-degree to connect it, or they're gonna start from that point and go straight. So that's critical also. So we want to see the detail between the east wall connection and the west wall connection. One last thing is to also identify the exact location of the two mature trees in relation to the property line wall to the north, and then also the fence to the south. So we know how much room we got when they build that wall going in. I think that's very critical to have those resolved before we know what we're getting. And so that would be part of the motion.
Thank you, Raymond, for the clarification. You get it, Camelia?
Yes, adding
Great.
the what I mentioned and then the two items that were mentioned, yes.
Thank you.
With that being cleared up, we can move forward with the roll call. Chair Wong,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lakin,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
and alternate Committee Member Rick Chow.
Yes.
Okay, so then that makes it a 5-0 vote for continuance to the next meeting if possible.
Thank you. Now we are moving to agenda item number 2, design review case number DL 21-65 at 1375 Winston Avenue. Staff report, please.
Chair, I will recuse myself for this project.
Thank you.
Chair, do you want to confirm that Tony Chow will be voting on this project in the absence of Committee Member McKay?
Confirm.
Okay. So this project, the applicant proposes to add a new 3-foot wide wooden gate to the existing side yard wall on the left side of an existing garage. The applicant also seeks to build a new 6-foot high in height whitewashed brick wall with a second 3-foot wide wood gate on the right side of the garage. In total, the project proposes 1 new side yard fence and 2 wooden gates, or side yard wall and 2 wooden gates. The project sits on an approximately 10,850 square foot corner lot, improved with an approximately 3,123 square foot single family home in the R1 zone area district B or 5. Okay, and I want to make a correction to the staff report. In the tree preservation section of the report, we noted that the proposed side yard wall is proposed to come between 6 and 7 feet of the edge of the coast live oak tree. It has been pointed out that that was what appeared in the arborist report. However, the plans on A1 actually show about a 4.5 distance instead, which would probably be something, not probably, is something that I recommend having the applicant or applicant's representative clarify during the discussion process. And as far as the recommendation, staff is recommending that you determine that the proposed project is exempt from CEQA per categorical exemption class 1, that the wall and the 2 gates are compatible with the subject block, and approve the proposed project, including the tree protection zone and guidelines for the arborist report dated September 1st, 2021, with a clarification on the distance to the wall from the oak tree. Any questions I can answer at this time?
Any questions from the committee to staff, please? Seeing none, I'll now like to invite the applicant to present the project, please. Is the applicant or the applicant's representative present tonight?
I believe I did see him. David Lai from SLS Design. Are you able to unmute yourself? Are you
I see that
currently
they said the
unmuted?
yes from SLS Design. They said yes. Can you come on and then come to the microphone, please?
Is
Hello?
Mark there? There we go.
You guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi,
you-
my name is
uh,
David with SLS Design. The address of our office is 1414 Fair Oaks Avenue in South Pasadena. I'm part of the design team for this project. The main purpose for this project is to kind of replace an existing, or what was an existing wall that was there previously that the previous owner removed because it was damaged by the tree itself. And we're kind of just putting it back in to provide privacy for our clients, which you are also here in this meeting as they have pets and young children as well. In terms of the discrepancy between the arborist report and what we show in our drawing, I believe that's just a miscommunication between us and our arborist. We are willing to push this wall back to meet our arborist recommendation of 6 feet from the tree itself, rather than what we show, which is 4'6" away from the tree. Other than that, I'm willing to answer any questions from the committee.
Thank you. Is there any question from the committee to the designer, please?
I'll make it quick. So you would connect the wall to the southwest corner of the existing home and maintain a 6-foot distance between the tree and the new proposed wall. So basically, what is different from your plan is that you basically connect that same point at the corner of the house and swing the wall backward towards the garage to maintain that 6-foot distance. Am I correct on that?
No, I would actually offset the whole wall itself. So we would more or less expose the corner a bit on the right-hand side of that wall. And more or less, if you take that exact wall at that angle and shift it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
I believe that
so
creates
you
a
would
more
expose the corner. I'm
appealing.
sorry. Yeah, that's why
Yes.
anytime you deviate from the plan, unless we are clear,
Yes, I understand.
people will build it differently. So what you're saying is that instead of 4'6" along the same line, you would make it 6 foot. So you move the entire wall back 1.5 foot more.
Yes.
Okay. So you expose the corner of the house and move everything 1.5 foot more away, so that there is a 6-foot distance between the oak tree and the new wall. Okay. I just want to clarify. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other question?
Yes, Chair, I have a question for the applicant.
Please go ahead, Committee Member Rick Chow.
Thank you. To the designer, Mr. Lai. And as you know that on this property, when it comes to the walls, they're basically, you have 2 different finishes, more or less. One toward the north side, the brick is basically exposed. And then starting from just west of the front gate, then it's kind of whitewashed. And then it turns into kind of a natural brick again. So, and then the proposed one is kind of half and half, exposed brick and whitewash look. Have you thought about perhaps at this point, making it more consistent, or you like the way you're proposing? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Thank you.
We're open to suggestions. This is something we actually brought up with staff as well, because there are multiple kind of versions of this wall. If the owners can chime in, I believe the best course of option would be to paint everything white to make it consistent. And if the owner can agree to that here, I believe that might be the best option, because it looks like the existing the short front wall used to be painted, because it would I would assume it matched the right side of it, but it looks like it faded over time from, I don't know, by the sprinkler spraying on it or something along those lines. But to me, it looks like all the brick walls previously were painted.
Okay, thank you.
This is Mike Mancini and my wife Adriana. We're the homeowner. To chime in on that point.
Please. Sorry, we will let you come in later. This is a question, but sorry, you're correct. Please chime in. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. We said in our declaration that we submitted with our information package that we preferred the distressed brick look because there's so much distressed brick look on the wall in the front of the house. It's not supposed to be an in-between solution. It's supposed to look just like the wall in the front that is an exposed brick with some whitewash paint. It's not supposed to differ from that. The reason that we prefer the brick look to an all white look is if every wall becomes white, it starts to look like a pretty boring white, weirdly white brick, kind of like fortress, instead of having a little bit of character, which the exposed bricks do. And for what it's worth, the exposed bricks in the front are probably 30 or 40 or more years old, and they look really interesting, and they're kind of homey. That's what we're going for in that middle wall as well. The wall on the far left side that's already white, we're leaving white because it matches that garage and the neighbor's house that it connects to as well. And we don't want to change that. But our thought was, and we're open to the suggestion, this isn't a make or break issue, but our thought was the exposed brick actually looks very nice and sophisticated and matches the front of the house, and therefore matches the theme of the house on the corner anyway. But that's our 2 cents.
Thank you, Mr. Mancini. Any other question for the applicant or the applicant's representative? I'd like to follow through with the earlier question, is that the designer said he would consider move back the entire wall six feet. How would that relate to the landing of the house, west side of the house? Would it be touching the landing, or there will be a gap between the landing and the newly proposed wall's location? Can the designer share that with us?
Yes, there should be a roughly 4.5 foot gap from where we are proposing our wall to that landing right now. So by pushing it back to have a total of 6 feet between our wall to the tree, we should have roughly 2.5 feet between that landing and the proposed wall.
Okay. All right. And then for the opening of the door on the west side, is it supposed to serve the purpose of moving trash cans in and out? Because so happened I saw trash cans lining up outside the garage door.
Yes, exactly.
Right. And that would have to go through the lawn, or you are proposing a little passage?
We're proposing a little passage. So if you look on our first sheet of drawing, you would see kind of like this sand and triangle hatch on it. So that is our proposed walkway from that opening, from that gate.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions from the committee to the applicant? Yes, Vice Chair Laycon.
Hi, thank you. Could you tell me, we were talking about that little area to bring out your trash cans between the garage and the neighbor's garage. Do you have any plans for landscaping that breaks up all that white from the garage to the next garage? Do you know what I'm saying?
As of right now, there is no, I'm sorry.
Just go ahead. Because
as of right
I'm
now,
assuming once, but I'm thinking once that wall is redone, you're gonna have to redo the wall, right? Because you're building the gate. You're gonna take.
We would not need to completely redo the wall. We would actually be able to saw cut it and fit a gate in it.
Okay. And so so you're saying like all those plants, like there's roses or things like that back there, are those all going to be removed? I'm curious. I'm thinking that if I thought maybe you'd have to build a new wall to get that gate in, ultimately, I just want to make sure that there's going to be landscaping in front of the wall so that it prevents so much of that hardscape white from the garage to this new wall to the next garage. So it's planning on staying landscaped, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So the proposed door and walkway will only require us to remove one small portion of the landscaping that is currently there, the rose bushes. The plan will be eventually, after the wall is done, is to re-landscape the entire property. Obviously down after this wall is approved and built. But yes, those rose bushes will stay. The rose bushes that will not block that door will stay there.
Okay. Thank you.
Great. Any other questions from the committee? I have one more for the designer, is that you mentioned there was a wall earlier under the live oak tree, and that was destroyed. Obviously, the tree has very invasive root system, right? And now you're proposing block walls to be put up. This is not going to be CMUs, right? No rebars or nothing. So how would you ensure these 6 foot tall, newly, masonite brick walls would be sturdy, not to be affected by the tree system and so forth? And I'm very concerned about young kids in the area, pets and whatnot over time.
Yeah, so we're looking to do a traditional kind of foundation for this wall. The idea at this point, and from our advice from our arborist, is to kind of cut, kind of not as much as possible, but like cut what we need. And at that point, generally speaking, it'll stop root growth towards that direction and hopefully force it down more than kind of up and out towards our wall. So that is kind of our plan to do it, just kind of with direction from our arborist. As you can see from our report, he had all these recommendations for it because it is such a large tree. And just with talking to him too, he doesn't expect too much of an issue because of how the tree itself is kind of leaning out and towards the street more than the inside. He actually doesn't expect much more issues with the root system. And just to note is the previous wall system that was there actually was right up next to the trunk. So what ended up happening was the trunk and the flare to the roots did most of the damage to the wall rather than like the root system itself.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll close this section and move on to public comments. Is there any public comments through the internet now?
Let me also check the email real quick.
Thank you.
I see none in email, and I do not see any hands raised or any, anything in the chat.
Thank you, staff. Now then, I'll close the public comment section and close the public hearing and begin committee member discussion. Committee member Rick Chow.
Thank you, Chair. I think I can pretty much support the project. And I think as long as we have everything all clarified when it comes to the wall, the location, other than that, I can support the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Raymond Chang.
Yeah, this will be definitely an improvement to the property, and I'm sure it will serve the owner's needs. So I can support it with the understanding that we will move that 4 foot 6, 4.5 foot dimension to the 6 foot dimension, and then I can support it.
Thank you. Also, committee member Tony Chow.
Yeah, not much to add. I can support the project, and it's great to hear the thought the owner has put into, even with just the color of the bricks maintaining at the front. So I can definitely support this project.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lee Kon.
Hi, thank you. Yes, I can support the project as well. I find that it's, well, the project is very necessary due to safety, privacy, and code issues. And I live not within the legal neighborhood, but I do live in the neighborhood. And I watched the house, and I saw the wall come down from the previous owners, and some of the work they even did on that oak tree. So I really appreciate what the new owners are doing with the property to bring it back. And I think that the design that they've chosen was similar to what we would have seen there originally. And I think that that kind of whitewashed brick is very compatible with our neighborhood. There is a lot of exposed stone, brick, and a lot of natural materials in our neighborhood. And I think that that is going to look really nice at that location in that house. And I could support it as submitted. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, thanks to the applicant and the applicant's representative for sharing a very detailed package and answer our questions. The fact that the applicant is willing to move the proposed wall back to 6 feet from the edge of the Coast Live Oak tree make this very workable. And I think with the condition being followed by the tree protection plan and the guidelines in the arborist report, as well as the aforementioned distance adjustment, everything else to me makes sense, and I can support to approve the project for the night. Is there any motion? I would motion to approve design review case number 21-65.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, please.
Before we call roll for the vote, because we're asking for the wall to be 6 feet from the tree, I would recommend a condition that when they return, the plans be updated to reflect the 6-foot distance from the from the oak tree per the arborist report.
Definitely with a revised plan update to reflect that 6-foot distance. Yes.
Can we revise the motion to, do I have your, sorry, I know you've moved, Peter, and Committee Member Chang has seconded. Would you guys agree to that in terms of the your movement and your seconding?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure, not a problem.
Thank you, Alicia.
Okay, so a roll call for vote. Chair Wong?
Yes.
Vice Chair Lakon?
Yes.
Committee Member Chang?
Yes.
Alternate Rick Chow?
I thought Tony is voting for this.
For this one, it's both of you because we.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
For
Yes.
5. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And alternate Tony Chow.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Now we are moving on to agenda item number 3, design review case number DR 21-67 at 1945 St. Albans Road. Staff report, please.
I see that Committee Member McKay has rejoined us, so I will proceed. The project is for the replacement of a louver window in the kitchen and a vinyl window in the master bathroom with fiberglass composition windows from Marvin, one of which is visible from the street. As such, it requires design review approval for being visible from the street, but also a material, to clarify for the record, a material that's not on the pre-approved list for window materials. The project sits on an approximately 11,103 square foot corner lot, improved with an approximately 2,639 square foot single family home in the R1 zone area district 5 or area district B. The subject property is identified on the Citywide Historic Resource Survey as a potential contributor to potential future historic district. The house is a Mediterranean revival home. However, past alterations include window replacements, changes to the primary facade. The windows proposed to be replaced are not original to the home, and they do not retain character defining features of the district that would constitute historical significance in their own right. The staff is recommending, based on the information submitted to the record, that the committee determined that the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to state CEQA guidelines using a class 1 categorical exemption, that the committee find that the proposed project is compatible with the legal neighborhood and with the existing structure itself, and the final recommendation to approve the project. I can take questions at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for staff, please, from the committee? Yes, Vice Chair Layton.
Did the applicants express to staff why they were going outside of the pre-approved list?
So, sorry, and I see the applicant wants to chime in here, but they will have a chance to chime in a moment. Hold on, applicants. Okay,
I'm sorry. Did I cause a problem?
hold on, applicants. You'll have a chance to answer. This was a project that was originally started with former staff, so I don't know if there was a discussion that was had prior. There was no discussion between myself or Stephanie Britt with the applicant or the applicant's representative as to why the material is something that's not on the pre-approved list. That the applicants might be able to clarify if there wasn't a discussion with former staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee to staff? Seeing none, I'd like to invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to present the project to the committee. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. This is Ralph and Eleanor Basilio. We reside at 1945 St. Albans Road. And we're requesting permission to replace a window at the front of our house facing St. Albans. It's a kitchen window. The current window right now is a jalousie type window that was popular back in the middle of the 20th century. Our house was built in 1928 and has multi-pane metal windows. And in consultation with our vendor, they selected a window that was close as possible. It's the window is a landscape format, so it's 3 feet tall by 6 feet wide, and it has 12 panes of glass.
And we're not modifying the size.
And we're not modifying the size. We just want the house to actually look closer to what it looked like back in 1928. And the second window is in our master bath, and it's basically broken. We think it's back from the 1960s, and so we're replacing that window with something similar to the one that we'll be replacing, or it'll be similar to the one in the front of the house.
Thank you. Okay, now let's see if there's any question from the committee to the applicant.
I'll ask a quick question if I may, Chair.
Member Raymond Chang, please.
Thank you. The question to the owner, have you actually seen the proposed window? Have you, because I'm not familiar with this particular window, and they call it a fiberglass window. How does that look and feel? Does it feel like the metal window you're talking about? And have you checked the color out? Does it match your existing color of the window? How's your personal feeling on that?
Yeah. So the window vendor showed us a sample, and it's definitely similar in color. It's like a black, almost like a very, very dark gray window frame. And I would say from the street, you couldn't tell if that was fiberglass, plastic, metal. We have metal windows. They may be wrought iron, the original ones from 1928. But that was as close as they could get. And if I understand correctly, the window manufacturer might be on the approved supplier list. That's what I was told, but I'm not sure. Infinity, I think, Infinity Windows by Marvin.
So the manufacturer of your window that you're proposing is from Marvin?
Yes, correct.
Oh, I see. All right. But you've seen the window and you feel comfortable about it, right?
Yes, yeah. And to be honest,
It'll
I'm sorry.
definitely look better than the jalousie.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that right now, this is a odd window, really odd from the front of the street. So again, we just want the house to look more uniform and back to what it was in 1928 as a Spanish colonial revival home. So it's out of place.
No, I understand that. And then the groove size that they specify is 7/8. It's very close to what you have now compared to
Yes,
the window grill.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. That's all I have. Question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Vice Chair Lee.
I have one question. When they replace the maybe it's a kitchen window, right now is it? I think it already is. Is it? You have the curved recessed window, the bullnose. The stucco is curved, correct, and it's recessed. And so when you change the window, it'll also be recessed. It would be placed the same way it is now.
Yes, that
He
is
said
the
it's
short.
just a straight insert.
That's correct. Yes, yeah. So the molding, everything on the outside is going to be
Same.
unchanged.
Thank you. Any other questions from Committee Member McKay?
Thank you. Has the vendor or somebody from the vendor, the manufacturer, come to the property?
Somebody from the vendor, many times.
Well, the one we're purchasing the window from has been to the property a number of times. That is correct. They've been on site to measure, and they have determined that there is no reframing that needs to happen. That's going to be a direct replacement. So I don't know if I'm answering your question or not.
Well, that was my question. I just wanted to, probe a little bit if they considered the choices that you made to be the best choices, given the property and what they're seeing and all of that.
Yeah,
And the color match and.
correct. Yeah, so they've worked in the neighborhood before, and they know how important it is to try to maintain some consistency and homogeneity with each of the homes. So that actually made us feel good, as opposed to going to a vendor that just wanted to sell us something.
And the window on the side, that entire long, narrow window is in the master bath?
Yes, that's correct. So the second window in the master bath is actually a portrait style window. So it's tall and narrow. So it's like maybe 5 feet tall by only about 2 or 2.5 feet wide. But that too also is a multi-pane window. And right now it's just inoperable, and it's actually kind of stuck open. So we're concerned about the energy loss through that window.
It's a very unusual shaped window, and being so long, 5 feet, as you said, and especially for a master bath. I just wanted to confirm I was understanding that correctly. The entirety of it is in the master bath.
Yeah, that's correct. But in the front of the house, we actually have a dining room with French doors that open outwards. And those doors are 6 or 7 feet tall, but they're also multi-pane. So they're similar, if you will, from the street. So I think there is kind of some uniformity. So there are, what am I trying to say? There are tall, narrow windows, if you will, or doors around the house already.
I saw that. It's quite unusual. Thank you.
I have one more follow. I have one follow-up question.
Okay.
Sort of.
Member Rick Chow, please.
I think the applicant said something about it, but I didn't quite catch it completely. You said from the street, you can't really tell the material. So the new window, what exactly is the material?
Actually, I don't know for sure, so I don't want to guess here. I think it's some kind of like a fiberglass, but I'm not 100%
I think
sure.
there's metal inside.
But there is like a metal slider inside, but I think on the outside it might be fiberglass. So I just don't know how it's like laid out as a composite.
So the rest of the windows right now, besides these two we're discussing right here, the rest of them are all metal window frames.
That's
right?
correct. Yes.
That
Yeah,
one's
they're
metal
of the
too, but
period.
But it's double pane, so it's thick.
In this one, you're not sure. I mean, I like the project, don't get me wrong, but I am a little bit surprised that you said the manufacturer or the rep has been there a few times, but that would be kind of my first question, is like, what's the material?
We can answer that for you.
I'm surprised that they didn't put it in the forms.
It's in the form. It's in our report. I believe it says.
Yeah, because we're not in the business of windows. I apologize, but I would not know anything about materials.
Yeah,
I think it's fiberglass.
Okay, so can someone tell me then?
On page 2 of staff's report, it says Ultrex fiberglass. The
Yes.
proposed
Fiberglass,
replacement would be
okay.
a sliding window made of Ultrex fiberglass. And then on the master bath, it says the same. Proposed material will switch aluminum to Ultrex fiberglass.
Okay.
Am I reading that correctly? Is that correct?
Yeah, I would like to address that if I could.
Yeah, I think Mr. Calderon wanted to raise, maybe hopefully he can answer the question for us. Are you from the manufacturer of the window?
Yes.
Thank
We're,
you.
we're the installation company. My name is Ross, and I'm also with Mr. Calderon. The material is on the approved list, or not the material, but the window. It's the ultimate replacement or insert. And this is the insert window that when Marvin developed it, used aluminum on the exterior. And as all people selling aluminum clad windows are finding problems, Marvin, about 10 years ago, came up with something better than aluminum, which was acrylic. So the exterior of the window has acrylic. And the beauty of acrylic, it's like the old car from the 1920s that you find in a junkyard, the taillights. You go get one off of an old junk car and clean it up, and it looks like it's brand new because they never change color. The acrylic keeps it looking new, whatever color, in this case, black, forever. And so Marvin puts the acrylic over the inside or outside as well as the inside. The center of the window is a combination of wood and fiberglass. And they've come up with a term and patented a term called Ultrex. It's stronger than wood. It's stronger than, well, not stronger than aluminum, but as strong as aluminum. It's the best material for windows. And so this is the window we've shown our customers. We've also brought it in 2 or 3 times into the San Marino desk to show people behind the counter. You know, this has been going on since last August. And we go back to see them and schedule a meeting with you all on the design review committee, and no one knows anything about it because they're no longer there. But this is Marvin, you know, one of the top companies, and a window that they developed over the years, and it's the window they're most proud of. And we have a stack of other customers and orders in San Marino that are dying to get this window, but have been forced to get something with aluminum on the outside, which they really don't want. So we'd be happy. We were hoping we could meet you all in person to show you the window. We do have a window here that we can turn our camera to and show you what it looks like. Compared to about 15 years ago, I was the person who worked with the design review committee for months to get the renewal by Andersen window approved. I was with that company at that time. And it's 60% vinyl, which you don't allow in San Marino, vinyl windows, and 40% sawdust, which they now call Fibrex. And after several months of working with you folks on the design review committee, you approved it for us. And now there are a number of windows from Renewal by Andersen sold in your great community. Not nearly as nice looking, not nearly as durable as the window we're talking about today, where the material is called Ultrex.
May I ask you to turn the camera to the sample that you just mentioned and give it a try so we can visualize it? Thank you.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
So if you can see this window, this is the Ultrex material. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, the things I want to point out are the bottom sash parts. This is a double hung, a window that would go into Eleanor's bathroom.
that slides up and down. These are the bottom rail of the top sash, the bottom rail of the bottom sash, made to exactly duplicate wood. Now, this is the renewal by Anderson window that you approved for me about 10 years ago, where the bottom rail and bottom rail of the top sash are way bigger, way bulkier, don't even look like wood windows. So the Ultrex material is really a superior product to the Anderson renewal product in how it looks like wood. So from the street at Eleanor's house, you all drive by and you'll say, "Woo, they put in beautiful new wood windows."
Just as a matter of comparison, how does this proposed window series price against the Melvin aluminum clad series?
Very similar in price, but they look different. The Marvin Ultimate, which is the first one on the list, also has larger sash parts, a little more like the Renewal by Anderson one. With neither of them look like wood windows as much as this one, but price-wise about the same. Proved the job for us in the last couple of weeks, just over the counter for the Marvin Ultimate. I find out where the people just desperately don't want it, but they want Marvin products. And what we're begging us for is find a way to get the people in San Marino to approve the Ultrex material.
All right, we'll talk about other projects down the road, but let's come back and see if there's any other questions from the committee to the applicant. Vice Chair Lacon.
Good question. Can you tell me, you mentioned that there are problems with aluminum clad. Could you explain to me what you were meaning in that top and how your product you have compares?
Well, absolutely, be happy to. First problem. Most of the companies on your list of approved aluminum clad products have been involved in class action lawsuits. And the reason for that is that moisture gets behind the aluminum and gets on the wood that's behind it and sits there over time. I mean, you can look them up online. And all of a sudden the window collapses and falls apart. That's one problem. The second problem, though, is even greater. So Eleanor and Ralph are going with a black window. In the aluminum clad, the day it goes in, it looks gorgeous. The color looks gorgeous. As time goes on, the air we have here in Southern California, if any sun hits it, or the other particles that are in the air here, a year from now, it doesn't even look that color. It goes from a nice ebony, is what this color is called, to a dark gray, to a medium gray, to a lighter gray. They fade. All of the dark colors fade, even white. You put in a white in aluminum clad today, and then bring a new piece of aluminum cladding out in a year and hold it up against the one that was installed a year ago, looks totally different. The aluminum, which they paint in the factory, needs to be repainted. But everything you say here, it can't be field painted. And with aluminum, it's a problem. With the Ultrex material, with acrylic on the outside, if the homeowners in question here decided and got permission from the design review committee to paint their windows green in 6 months because they're tired of the black look, the Ultrex material paints beautifully.
Oh, you can paint it.
You can paint it, but the problem is once you paint it, it becomes like wood. Someday you got to paint it again. You got to keep repainting when needed. The Ultrex material comes with a lifetime color warranty.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions for the applicant?
A quick question, just for curiosity.
Rick Chow?
Yes, how's the supply right now, turnaround time from approval of a project and getting these windows?
It's 10 to 14 weeks.
14 weeks?
10 to 14 weeks.
10 to 14, okay. Thanks.
The, just to add that 80% of the companies on your approved list are 6 to 7 months. So this is, other than plastic windows, this is the best available also, quality window. 10 weeks is fast in today's market.
One more quick question, if I may. You said the color that comes with the window is ebony color. The color is warranty for the life of the window, and that's from the exterior. Does it come in the interior also? What is the interior? Do they paint them? Do they come in white? What color does it come in the interior?
And any color you want. I mean, so our customer here is getting black on the inside also. But
so they can order the color both in the exterior and interior.
Yes.
And once that come out, that's the color. It will last for a long time.
That's
unless
correct.
they paint over it.
Yes. And they also come wood on the inside. So for example, not to waste any of your time, but if you had a young daughter and you wanted her windows to be pink and a young son in his room, you wanted them to be baby blue, we do the inside in wood and then paint it those colors from the factory. But in the case of this customer here, we're doing black out and black in.
Same material.
Yes, same material.
Thank you. That is adequate. Okay. Any other question?
No.
Anybody has any question? Thank you. Seeing none, I want to thank the applicant and the applicant's representative for presenting the case and addressing the questions from the committee. I next like to ask you if there's any public comments. Anybody sending any email or raise hands over the internet, please, staff? Any questions from the public?
Just checking, sorry, the planning email inbox, I see none. I also see no raised hands and no comments in the chat.
Thank you, staff. As such, I'll close the public hearing and move on to the committee member discussion. Committee member McKay, please.
Thank you. I could support the project tonight. I think this is a really nice improvement. And I appreciate the owners, the applicants' desire to have some consistency and to maybe make some improvements from, you know, unmatched windows from prior owners and from prior decades. I also really appreciate the presentation tonight and the willingness to share all of this information with us, as well as the diligence with which you checked with your neighbors and the people in the legal neighborhood and really took all of that very seriously. And I want to commend you on that, because I did note how carefully you fulfilled all of those requirements. So I could support this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Raymond Chang.
I feel the same way. Appreciate all of the effort, and it will be interesting to see how this particular material in this window holds up years from now. And we also are hoping to one day that we can be back in person, that we can actually touch and feel this possible new window materials or roofing materials someday soon. So I can approve this project as presented.
Thank you. Alternate member Rick Chow.
Thank you. I can also support the project. I also like the project. I think it's a nice improvement to bring consistency and in material. Well, even that it's a different material, but the look the aesthetic. So I think it's a nice improvement. Same thing here. I think it is a good candidate for the future as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lee-Con.
Yes, I agree as well. I can support the project as is presented tonight, and I actually look forward to seeing the window installed in the kitchen so we can see it. It's to the side enough where it doesn't impact the visual, aesthetics of the house, and I think that this would be a chance for us to see how it fits. But it's a really beautiful house, and I think it's a nice improvement. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to echo all my, alternate member Tony Chow.
Yeah, I won't add. I agree. I support the project.
Thank you. I echo all my fellow colleagues' comment tonight, and that this is indeed a good improvement to make the property even more coherent and the effort put in. I also want to thank the applicant in making the installer team available and the team making the samples available. Always said a picture worth 1,000 words, and tonight is a good illustration. And by having another brand next to it, which is in the pre-approved list, really help at least move me to have the leave of confidence that this exceptional material could be approved for tonight. So I can also support its approval. May I ask if there is any motion for the project?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve design review case number DR 21-67.
Anybody second?
I'll second.
Okay, Committee Member McKay second. Roll call, please.
Writing on here to clarify that committee member McKay was the second.
Yep, I saw that.
Okay. And we're approving as submitted or approving with conditions?
With the
think as
condition
submitted.
as in
Submitted.
the
Submitted
window
as
list.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you for the clarification. All right. Chair Wong,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lee-Con,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
and Committee Member Rick Chow.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Vice Chair.
Did I say Vice Chair?
Sorry, my bad. Yep, thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. All right, now we are moving to item number 4, design review case number DRC 22-01 at 1355 Pascualito Drive. Start report, please.
A moment while I change case information here. Okay. And just a request for clarification. Generally, we have the alternates alternate during voting. For this coming one, would it be Tony Chow that would be voting, or are we continuing with Rick Chow?
We'll move to Tony Chow.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay, so this is design review case number DR 22-01 at 1355 Pascualito Drive. The applicant proposes to install the composition fiberglass roofing material Certainteed residential shake in the Age Park color on an existing approximately 1,855 square foot single-story residence and detached garage on an approximately 14,521 square foot lot zoned R-1 in Area District 7 or BII. The residence and garage currently has wood shake. The subject property does not meet the prerequisite of having composition shingle currently installed on the home in order to install the the proposed material by right, and is therefore subject to design review committee approval. The roofing materials color is not found on the city's pre-approved roof material color and applications list. The applicant attempted to obtain Cedar Light simulated wood shake, but the material is currently delayed over a year. And the applicant also is not, they're willing to take other colors from discussion with staff. There is no trees proposed as for removals proposed for this project. The project's not identified on any of our CY historic resource survey lists. Staff reviewed the application and is recommending, based on the information submitted to the record, that the committee determine that the project is exempt from CEQA pursuant to state CEQA guidelines with a class 1 categorical exemption, that the committee find that the proposed roofing material is compatible with the existing structure itself, and that the committee approve the project with the conditions stated for composition of fiberglass materials on the city's pre-approved roof materials, colors, and applications list. That concludes staff's presentation. I'll take questions at this time.
Thank you, staff. Is there any question from the committee to staff, please? Seeing none, I'd like to invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to present the project.
And she is on the line. I think she's trying to get herself unmuted.
Cannot hear you. Yeah, coming along. Oh, with a big feedback, but otherwise, yes.
You're gonna. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
I apologize. I don't know exactly where to start. I can present to you what we have gone through. We started in August of last year trying to get a re-roofing for our home started. I have to apologize. I'm getting double vocal.
May I just suggest that it appears that you have called in twice, and that may be why we're hearing the echo. I see your name twice.
Thank you.
Is there one way to disconnect the other, and that might remove the echo?
I can get rid of them. I think. Let's see.
You might be able to turn down the volume as well on one of your devices. That should also help eliminate the echo.
Okay.
I think it's working now. I think she muted one of them. Try it now.
Can you hear? Is that better?
Still there. No, I'm sorry.
I think the other one has to be disconnected, but that's my experience.
Are you still getting a double echo?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how to get that one off, the other one off.
Can staff disconnect that one?
I can put it in the waiting room, I think. So I'm going to put one in the waiting room and let's see how that goes.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay. How are we doing now? Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I apologize. I just don't know my way around these new gizmos. At any rate, we thought we were being on top of it, and we started to get estimates to have our home re-roofed in August. And to our surprise, what we learned was that there is a list of materials approved by San Marino, which was fine. What we were not prepared for, of course, was the fact that the wood shake that we would be replacing came to estimates at $75,000 and above, which caused us to look at the next material that was pre-approved by the city. And that, of course, was the Cedar Light. After getting in and I will tell you, we probably entertained at least 7 different contractors, roofing contractors. They all gave us the same story. Cedar Light was unavailable. And in August, they gave us a 6-month waiting period for Cedar Light, which what we said was, okay, let's see if what we can do with composition. And that's when we started looking at composition. January came rolling around and 6 months turned into add a year to it. Now, this is all complicated by the fact that there was a pandemic, and So that has something to do with it. And the main factory that provides Cedar Light had some damage of some sort, and every one of our contractors has given us the same explanation. It is just unavailable. They can't touch it. So what we did was we went from storm to storm. We tarped the top of our roof and decided to wait for a solution, and the city's been wonderful. They've been working with us, trying to figure out how we could get some protection on our roof. I'm going to try and give you the short version because I know it's late. Let me just kind of back up here a little bit. What we ended up doing was saying, okay, what is available? We can't entertain wood shake necessarily for several reasons. So we started looking at the pre-approved cedar, CertainTeed presidential fiberglass shake. That has been pre-approved by the city. And what we did, the reason why we looked at that was because it's immediately available. What we learned was that actually, because it is not wood shake, there are a few benefits to it that are probably more in favor, we're more in favor of. And some of those reasons I'm just going to stipulate for you. I would think that maybe that you have already familiarized yourself with our case and saw that there were a variety of reasons why we started leaning towards the composition over wood shake. So now Cedar Light, the tile shake, is out of the question because it's just totally unavailable. So if I gave you the reasons why we're leaning towards composition, it has to do, number one, with the water drought. And in the last 10 years, there's been an unbelievable amount of fires. And composition has the highest fire resistant rating that there is. And it made more sense for us to say, there was a time, we've already put 2 wood shake roofs on this home in the years that we've lived here. We've lived here 52 years. And there was a time that wood shake made sense, but it just makes no sense any longer because of the amount of fires that are going on in the last 10 years and because of the water drought. Composition is made of fiberglass, whereas the cost of wood is over double the price. So that's another reason why we're leaning towards composition. Composition meets all the Class A fire and earthquake regulations in California and with the city of San Marino's codes. It meets all of the wind resistant regulations in compliance with California as well as San Marino City Code. Number 5 for us was the composition we requested is compatible with our home design. And our neighborhood replicates wood shake and is far more durable to walk on than wood shake. Another reason is that wood shake roofing is exorbitant in cost. And I could tell you, you probably already know, but our estimates for wood shake are 3 to 4 times more than our composition estimates and are literally out of our financial reach. We're seniors, we're on fixed incomes. The estimates that we have been getting have been from $75,000 on up, and we just simply can't reach that far. So cost was an issue. Now, I realize that we have wood shake and we've had it for 52 years. But these are times that nobody had ever expected to happen. To wait a year for roofing material just is kind of out of the question for us at this point. So, we looked for the design review committee to help us make a decision on this and let us move forward on composition with the presidential.
Thank you. Really appreciate the background information and what you have gone through the detail for you as well. So let's see if there's any questions from the committee to the applicant, please.
I have a question.
Or the member Rick Chow, please.
Yes, thank you for your giving us the history of your project. And a quick question, the current line you're proposing, did you get a quote for the TL line, presidential TL?
No, we did not.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We did not get a written quote. Let me say it to you that way.
Oh, I was just wondering if you know the cost between the presidential and presidential TL.
I cannot give you the difference in cost. No, I don't have that.
Okay. The TL being the three layers, and the presidential is just 2 layers, right?
That I believe you're right. I'm not an authority on it, but that is what I believe. I read what I read in the brochure.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question.
Vice Chair Lakon.
Hi, I have a question regarding when you switch to composition shingle, and maybe staff brought this up already, but there is a condition that the home needs to have gutters. And I believe that your house doesn't have gutters. Is that something that you are willing to install with this roofing material if it was approved?
If it made the difference, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And is there a reason that you chose aged bark as a color?
To be very honest with you, it's been very controversial as far as I'm concerned. When we looked at the brochure with the with some of the city, they felt that that was the closest color to what is existing on our roof right now.
And you're aware that that color is not the color that's on the pre-approved list?
That's
that's not the color on the pre-approved list for composition shingle. So I think that the colors that are on the list are the ones that are to replicate or duplicate or to most appear like a wood thing.
I think that you're right in the way you're describing that, and I think that's why they picked that color, thinking that it matched more from the photographs that we took with what's existing on there now. And I think I'm going to leave it with that. I know a lot of times people will look at one color and they'll see maybe one tone, and another person will see a different tone. And so, but I hear your point on that.
So you're not sold on the aged bark is that the only color you're considering this evening? Are you open to other colors?
I'm open to other colors. I do believe that if we were trying to match what was up there, if it was another color that someone said this is a better match from the city and they could explain that to me, I would be certainly wide open to it. I'm not open to putting green or red or something in those tones. I would like to stay as natural and as similar to what is already existing. on our home.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the committee to the applicant, please?
Is there a representative here from the roofing company?
There is. Mr. Lansford.
Is there any question for the applicant?
Was Mr. Lansford.
I'm here.
Do you have a sample of this color?
Of the H bark?
Yes.
I do not. I've installed it, but I don't have it here. Getting samples right now is extremely difficult.
And the H bark is not a color that we've approved since I've been on the committee in 3 years. So I think a sample would be helpful. Is that what you're working?
Okay.
Or if we could agree on another color.
Yeah, the city only allows one color currently.
And the color is country gray.
Yeah, and that's what we've installed on the other roofs, country gray.
So, Mr. Lansford, can you share with the committee and the applicant what kind of logistic issue there may be with either the H bar or the country gray of the presidential series?
Both of them are available, typically 3 to 4 weeks. It's not like Cedar Light, which I still have 2 in San Marino that I've been waiting for since July. I spoke to Rita the other day as far as getting material for other jobs in Arcadia for the shake. It is available, which is not approved in your city. The slate is going to be available in about 6 to 8 weeks. That's for the steep roofs, but Cedar Light is still not available.
Right. Not to put you on the spot, but as a follow-up of a previous question.
Put me on the spot.
All right, you are now. Would you be able to share with the applicant the presidential versus the presidential TL line, which, as described by my colleague, is a tri-laminate, much more durable and would look with much more texture like wood as compared to the regular one. So price-wise, what kind of situation are we looking at for the applicant?
It's about $50 more square, just for the material. That's not labor cost. Just for material, it's about $50 more square.
So what is the total dollar sign of a delta are we talking about?
On squares, I think she had about 35 squares, so 50 times 35. Plus, I mean, I gotta mark that up obviously because I'm doing more labor. That's 6 bundles per square versus 5.
So it's more labor for the 3-ply?
Yeah.
That's just because it weighs more?
It's because there's more bundles per material. There's 6 versus 5.
So back of your envelope, $3,000.
I'd say around there. I don't want to say exact. I need to get a price quote for that before I state that on record. They are increasing prices every day, especially with the petroleum prices going up right now. Just for example, last week I got mastic at ABC Supply for $64. Today it was $72. So everything's going up, and they typically give you at least a week price increases. My supplier does down in Monrovia, ABC Supply, where I get it from. Right now, the prices are just going up. They're not even telling you. So I'd have to give you, I'd have to call tomorrow and find out. I didn't price this out for TL.
Understand. Thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none, I want to thank the applicant and the applicant's representative and let it open the public comment session. Do we have any comments from the public over the internet or through a raise your hand logo?
None through raised hands. Checking real quick the planning email box. I see none, so no comments submitted.
Thank you. Now then, I'll close the public hearing session and begin the committee member discussion session. Committee member McKay.
I'm very sympathetic to all of the issues that the applicant has set forth tonight, and the particular issues that are being presented by this extraordinary pandemic that we're in, and the distribution and supply and all of these problems, as well as the thoughtful analysis that it appears that she's undertaken in determining the different options and what those would mean. So I would like to know what my fellow committee members think of the color. I was concerned about that from the get-go when I reviewed this project. I'm not clear who recommended that to her from the city. But I think I could approve this tonight, as long as we have some kind of discussion on the color choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Raymond Chang.
Sorry, I was on mute. No, I have the same feeling, sympathetic to the property owner trying to even get the roof replaced and covered. It is a tough time right now. So I can approve the way it is now. If the owner want to consider that possibility of having the 3-ply material as an option, I'll leave it as an option to her to look at. I would also on the color, I don't know what's available. I don't know what are the choices we have. If you can allow that to maybe have the applicant work with the city staff to come up with another choice and come up with a better color, it's fine, but I can support the project the way it is tonight. I think you're on mute now.
Thank you. Alternate member Tony Chow.
Yeah, I think that's great. Committee member Chang brought that up. I agree on the material. The circumstance is really tough. I'm not too sure without seeing H bark or the other colors besides what we're familiar with, the country gray and shadow gray. So I think that's a great suggestion. Maybe I could support it and see if staff can work with them on this.
Thank you. Alternate member Rick Chow.
Thank you, Chair. Well, this is a little bit different than how we have been approaching this particular line because we have had many cases of presidential line coming before us. And we've always consistently, as far as I can remember, make recommendation, if not condition, to ask the applicant to go with the presidential TL. Correct me, anybody, if I my recollection is incorrect. So,
Member Chow, I believe
yes.
that we've never gone with the presidential. We've always conditioned it a TL in
Right.
the 3 years that I've found. Yes, you're
Okay. So, and I understand the supply issue here. So I'm struggling a little bit here, thinking, well, do we really just look at this as a case by case situation? So that's the first. The second is the color. Same thing here. We've never approved we've always approved country gray, not H bark. So I'm leaning toward at least holding on to that. We just gotta be more consistent. I mean, that's if not anything else, I think we're kind of obligated to do that. So So on the color, I would vote for country gray, and for the TL versus just non-TL, I'm kind of 50-50 here, but I can certainly go with also having the applicant looking at the presidential TL line. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Lee-Con.
Yes, I would like to echo what Committee Member Rick Chow stated, and I think that we really need to be consistent. And I could support the project with the condition that it was a presidential TL, and in the country gray, or I believe the autumn blend color was the other color, and the country gray. I mean, the country gray, the autumn blend, and even the we've approved shadow gray. And with the condition that the gutters are installed to finish off the edges of the house, which would more replicate the wood shake look that the house is most compatible with. And this particular house, I think, and in the neighborhood, the wood shake is really the most compatible. And I understand the applicant's desire to switch from wood. I know that a lot of the manufacturers or the roofer installers have high prices for installing these this material, and that I mean, I do know people that had their roofs bid out, and they have found some people to do it at a wide range of prices. So if you're really set on a wood roof to replace this, I think you would warrant to keep looking. But I think that the next best, I think this could be okay. But it would, like I said, it would need to be the presidential TL. It's thicker and it's going to look more like the wood shake. And your roof pitch isn't very high, and I think that the thinner 2-ply is going to look a little bit too flat. And then, like I said, finish it off with the gutters. And then to go to one of those 2 colors, because like we all have said, we haven't approved aged bark before, and we really need to be consistent. I also think that the aged bark is not compatible with the neighborhood, and I think it's okay with the house possibly, but I don't really think it's compatible with the neighborhood. So thank you very much, and thank you.
Thank you all.
That's all. Thank you.
I think our view has been really well shared among the committee, and the consistency is important, because otherwise it is going to deviate from the previous discussions that we have had. And obviously, the earlier the project can get started is good. So I'm in favor of going ahead, but I also see the need of the TL, because that really would give the wood shake texture really closest to what a wood shake would do. And that is my recommendation for that. And color-wise, I also like to stay with the country gray, but I also like to, this is the discussion session. Anybody has any opinion, would be welcome to bring it up. Committee Member McKay.
Yes, I just want to raise the issue that, and I was the first to speak, and I said I wanted to have discussion on the color issue. The applicant specifically stated, I heard it, you know, that somebody at the city told her to go with aged bark. So I think we need to clear that up. I think we have a consensus, unanimous view among the committee that that's not a good choice, and that we don't feel comfortable with it, and we haven't recommended it, we haven't approved it. So am I understanding correctly that the applicant was pointed in the direction of aged bark by the city?
Good point. Is anybody from the staff who is willing to share? Is it from the previous discussion and whatnot? Because I heard that the applicant is also open to any color that may deem appropriate.
So hi, Alicia here. I had the discussion with the applicant, not familiar with what the city's preferences are for colors, but recognizing that we were picking something that wasn't approved. It was on the pre-approved list in terms of she's not a house that currently has composition shingle on it. We had a discussion about weighing it, but she also indicated that she did not have a color preference. So we put something down that we thought looked similar to what she had, knowing that one of the conditions is that it matches the current building. This is an error in terms of not necessarily having experience with the commission and knowing what's been approved and what's not been approved, but also the intention was to bring this up for discussion so that we could get a color recommendation from the committee, not knowing that that wouldn't necessarily be the color at the end, that there was a possibility that we'd end up with another color.
I would just say that I think that we need to have that clarity on the record tonight so that we don't have this issue again, because the applicant was going with what she understood the city was recommending. And it's created a lot of discussion tonight that was probably unnecessary. And I don't want it, for the record, that the applicant was insisting or even stating a preference for a color that the committee has unanimous and understandable hesitation in approving.
So noted.
Thank you. And as Mr. Lansford had said, he has installed the country gray color. It is a subtle color. It is not green. It is not red. So it is a very, subdued color, and that's been in the pre-approved list of the city. So I trust that the team that did the pre-approval list determination has gone through whatever is appropriate to the vibe of San Marino. So I think that would give me the assurance that it would be appropriate to recommend. Any other member want to bring up further discussion points? I think it would be fair to allow the applicant to clarify certain issues. So please, applicant, you have a question? I'll allow that.
Thank you so much. Okay, it is my understanding that we're going with country gray. Is that right?
That seems to be the direction that the committee is leaning towards.
Right. Okay. Will the city let me know in writing what color I'm supposed to get?
Yes, if that is the direction that is going to go forward, then it will be written in the approval letter to you.
I really appreciate it.
Right.
I can't tell you how much help everyone in the planning department has given me, and I do appreciate all their help.
Sure, and please continue.
So we are very grateful. So I'm fine. Like I said, as long as it's not green, it's not red, or it's not something that I have to coordinate the rest of my exterior to match my roof. So I'm good. I'm good with that. I think that's basically it. I think, as long as we can kind of move forward before the next storm comes, because I'm walk with my head up these days, looking straight up, looking for more leaks. And so what seems to be an affordable material may end up costing us thousands of interior damage. So we really want to move forward on this.
Understand.
I appreciate everybody's time. We are very grateful for your time.
You're welcome. So if there's no more discussions among the committee, is there a motion?
Can I make one more comment?
Oh, please.
I went around to the back of the property and there is a very nice weather vane on top of the garage. Is that your garage with the nice weather vane on top?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. That's not your house in the back?
Oh, well, yeah, it belongs to, well, it's been here since we bought the house. It's the weather vane is ours, and it's just.
I mean, is that a garage back there?
No, it's not.
Oh, is that going to be re-roofed also?
It actually is not. We have no leaks back there, believe it or not.
Oh.
And so we looked at the option of saying, okay, we can save some money by not doing that part of the house. Is that a problem?
No, I don't want to open a can of worms. I just thought that, okay.
Okay.
Is that a problem?
Sorry, I
I
have to jump in here. That kind of
Yeah, somebody needs to jump in because
took
I'm
took
confused.
some
Now
air
I'm
out
very
of me.
confused and
So,
Um,
are you saying you are re-roofing the residence, but not the garage?
No, the garage is being re-roofed. That's part of this. The garage is, you have photographs of our garage.
it's an additional structure in the back of the property.
That
rear.
is, yeah, it
Shed?
is just, it's kind of like it's it's just a structure that's always been there since we bought the house. It had you know, it's a structure that belongs to the, at the very back. These lots, I guess, were built with those kind of patios in the back of the lot. That's not our garage. Our garage isn't down the driveway.
This is a detached structure that is not a garage. Is it just simply like an extra room in the, is it like some kind of
yes, it had two
shed
rooms.
or workroom or something?
That's exactly right. There were two rooms and it was just a patio kind of thing. And that's basically what it is.
So maybe I should ask committee member, Chair Wong, do we have to address the other structure that is visible, or?
Is it part of the application? If you can remind us, that standalone structure.
I'm sorry, are you speaking with me?
I'm asking
Okay,
staff to
staff.
clarify the case.
Let me get the application out.
I just know that sometimes, like I know the garage and the house have to have the same roof material. I don't know if that means every structure on the property has to have the same roof material.
Right. Exactly. Just want to be sure there's a consistency throughout.
Or if that's within our jurisdiction,
Right.
is roofing
Right.
of a separate detached, standalone structure within the DRC that's not visible from the front of the house?
So the application was for the removal and replacement of an existing wood shake roof with certainty residential composition shingle. We, in general, when we take in applications for roof re-roofs, we don't ask for a site plan for the re-roofs. So, we ask if it's the garage, it's, attached garage, or if it's for the whole house, generally speaking. In terms of the code section, sorry, I'm trying to get to it right now. So when you're approving 23-1503, applications that they can be approved by the Director of Planning and Building. That's the wrong one. Applications, matter subject to design review. It's the complete or partial replacement of an addition to a roof or an existing residential or commercial structure, unless the replacement or addition is of the same similar material, color, and application of that which is being replaced or added. So it doesn't specify on here in the the portion where we evaluate what is being asked for. The only other place where it would apply possibly is in the findings section, which let me get that staff report out one more time. So we ask, is the proposed structure compatible with the neighborhood? And then the other applicable finding is the color material consistent and match the existing building or structure. So those are the findings that we're asked to make. I don't know from experience if we've had homes that when we have something that's, let's say, a covered patio, but this isn't even that case, this is a secondary structure, it sounds like, on the site. If we ask for those also to be reflective of the what's being proposed for the main house and the garage.
Any committee member may have previous example to share, maybe Ray?
Maybe, Chair, if I may share some of my experience, both in the design review committee and the planning commission of all these maybe 17, 18 years in the city. Normally, if we try to remove one structure, and if we are only proposing to remove a portion of the structure, the committee would take very strong precaution as to how would that look at the end of the day by re-roofing a portion of a structure. The way I see this particular application now is that they're removing the entire dwelling unit, which will look consistent by the time we finish this motion. That existing structure in the back, I didn't go to the back, so I didn't know how it looks like and all of that. If the owner felt that that was been existing for a long time and it's not leaking and they don't intend to re-roof that, I personally do not have a problem with that because it's not even part of this application, at least the way it looks to me. So it looks like, you know, they're having some problem on the existing structure. They try to re-roof it and they should apply this particular roofing material that we talked about to meeting all the requirement and get that structure done. And that back structure, I do not believe is visible from the street, is it? I did not walk back there, so I didn't know. But if it's not visible and the applicant, at this point in time, they're not applying to remove that portion and its existing structure, whether it's conforming or non-conforming, has been there for a long time. So for us to now to tell them to remove that, whether they need it or not, to me, it may be an overkill. That's my own personal experience on this.
And Committee Member Chang, I only saw it because I went to the commercial structure in the rear, the commercial building. There's a parking lot, and when I went to the parking lot, I could see the roof. And that's why I just assumed it was the garage. So that's how that came up.
Okay. So
I
it's
didn't
on
go
the
in.
other side.
I assumed it was from, yeah, it was from the other side. So I didn't know it was a different structure.
Yeah, from the residential side, I don't remember seeing it. Okay, I didn't go to the back, so I don't know. How do you know how big the structure it is? How no idea.
I just thought it was the back of the garage. I just assumed.
I see. Well, I voice my concern. I think it's not a co-violation, at least at this time. If it's a co-violation, we can deal with that. It's a co-violation. But if it's not a co-violation, it's been there for all this time. It's been like this all these years. They're only trying to just get a roof that protect them interior,
Right.
and so they can live comfortable. That's not too much to ask. I think we need to do our best to accommodate that wish. It's not too much to ask to have a house roof.
It looked very conform. I mean, it looked very like it had been there since the beginning of the house.
Right. So
Right. That's why I
Yeah.
assumed it was the garage.
they bought something and it's been there and it's not leaking and they don't plan on re-roofing it. I would say leave them alone and just let's do the right job in the front house.
I agree. Let's focus on
Good, I agree.
the project that's been teed up to us. So is there a motion?
Let me give it a shot then. Okay, after, based on what I heard from the committee members, I don't think we would have any problem approving design review case number DRC 22-01, approving it with the presidential TL country gray color and as presented. And that's my motion.
Anybody second?
I'll second that. And with the conditions for installation as
Per the design with the pre-approved list guidelines. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
adding that in there.
Okay, so Vice Chair Lee-Kun second. Let's
Yes.
have roll call.
Chair Wong,
Yes.
Vice Chair Lee-Kun,
Yes.
Committee Member Chang,
Yes.
Committee Member McKay,
Yes.
Committee Alternate Tony Chow.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for a successful session tonight. And as now I call the meeting completed. Thank you. And see you all in the next meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Be
Thank
well.
you.
We are adjourned till April 6th.
Correct.
Thank you. See you then.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.